they were at the point of becoming so powerful that they were about to destroy the world, and the angelic society stepped in and cast them out and put them into a parallel dimension, still in our physical universe, but in a parallel dimension very close to ours. And according to the legend, it's their, desire to get out of where they are and come back into our world, and the only way that they can do that is the destruction of the human race by whatever means possible. But the thing is, the jinn, I think, are responsible for a great deal of channeling, a great deal of hauntings, a great deal of paranormal phenomena. They are beings from another dimension that's very close to ours. They're very intelligent. They've lived for hundreds and hundreds of centuries, and they're young. They have children like us. They have families like us. They have clans. They are ruled by rulers and kings, and they have a definite design. And I believe that a lot of these reports that are increasing of shadow people are actually jinn pressing against the membrane that separates their dimension from ours, peering into our world and looking for conduits or portals so that they can make more connections into our world. And the jinn are called the trickster by the Native American. They're called, greatest con men of the universe. Uh-huh. And what they will do is they will appear and they will take the identity of everything from a spiritual great master to a loved one who had passed over, to an alien, to anything that they could do in order to make an attachment with a human being to make a connection into this universe. And according to belief, in mythology, and from what I found out, it seems that this is escalating. Their goal is to connect with as many human beings as they can across the world and come into our universe. And this is why we're seeing an increase in paranormal phenomena.
And
they're responsible for a lot of this.
I wonder also if a way in for them would be by, obviously not the channelers, but by degradation of humans, so the more there's addiction and people sink to lower levels to some degree, if that makes it easier for them to step in.
Well, yes, it does. And they seem to do it by psychic attacks, by inducing fear. Mm-hmm. Now, according to the legend, the jinn, in the Quran it says God made the angels from light. He made the human beings, human race, from the mud and the clay, which means matter, and the jinn from smokeless fire, which to me sounds like plasma, the place in between matter and energy. So if the angels are made of light and human beings are made of matter, the jinn are made of material in between, which is plasma, which is that fourth state of matter, that space between matter and energy. And according to belief that the jinn are able to eat food just like us, but to nourish themselves, but they would rather absorb energy in order to survive because it's more of a rush for them. And we have legends and stories about jinn actually attaching themselves and living off the human life force, and of course by inducing fear and getting into human beings psychically and breaking down the barriers. And a lot of things that are going on in this world, may be the product of what has been called the jinn. We don't know what they're called. Jinn is an Arabic word, it means hidden ones, because they stay hidden from us, which is true because we can't see them in this dimension that's close by to us, but they seem to have the ability to perceive us to various degrees. And they have the ability at times to cross over the dimension or partially cross over the dimension, whereas we don't have that ability. And I also believe that a lot of EVP phenomena, electronic voice phenomena that's being picked up by the so-called ghost hunters could actually be from another dimension which is being induced by a jinn of some sort.
Why would you think there is such an increase now?
Well, it seems that throughout human history there has been an increase in various types of phenomena, and then it dies down, and then it increases again. It comes in cycles, and I think it has a lot to do with the physical position of the Earth and the Sun and the planets in space and so on, and the effects of the Sun. And I think there's a great variety of factors. For example, 1,000 years ago, the idea of gremlins and fairies and things, people believed those things. But today they're just lost in mythology. But according to what you read from the accounts of that time, these creatures were very real, and they coexisted with the human race in our physical universe. And perhaps there are cycles where these dimensions overlap and cross over, allowing these beings to interact with our universe. And it seems that's happening again. It's slowly going into that state again. And we have to consider that there is something very unusual going on in the universe itself. For example, the Earth's magnetic field is changing. There's some activity on the Sun going on right now. The Sun is very quiet. There's these magnetic nodes that are being formed all over the Earth in magnetic intensities. The Earth is moving in a position where it's going to be lined up directly with the galactic core in 2012. And as we approach that, I think it's having a physical effect in the multidimensional universe that these other dimensions are looping and overlapping with our physical reality, allowing this phenomena to manifest more and more. If my theory is correct, as we approach 2012, 2013, 14, 15, even before that time, we're going to gradually see an increase in paranormal phenomena, and it may be quite common for people 25 years from now to walk in a forest and see strange creatures or strange beings and have more psychic and paranormal experiences. I think we're approaching that cycle again, where this other dimension, this other reality is going to merge into ours once again.
Philip, it's been very, very interesting talking to you. We are out of time. In closing, is there anything you didn't get to speak about?
No, well, there's quite a bit of a number of things that I've been researching, and I've accumulated a great deal of information. This is not just something that I've read from other books. This is what you've heard tonight was a product of my own research, getting out there in the field and analyzing the data. And you have to remember, I'm a scientist, and I started out as a skeptic 30 years ago. And now, I'm totally convinced that our universe, our reality, is more incredible than any of us have ever imagined.
And you have your 3 books, Contact of the Fifth Kind, Night Siege, which is about the Hudson Valley UFO sightings, and your latest one, Interdimensional Universe.
Yes, and I also have another book out called Celtic Mysteries in New England, which is published by Cosimo, which talks about my research into the stone chambers, and that was separate. And I also have a new book coming out in March 2010 called Files from the Edge, which details my other paranormal investigations over the last 30 years other than UFOs.
Do you have a website?
I don't have a website, but if people want to contact me, I'm always anxious to get experiences. They can contact me by email at B as in boy, E as in Edward, L 1313 at yahoo.com. Bell1313 at yahoo.com.
Philip, we'll talk again soon. Just in closing, what is your prognosis for the great 2012 phenomenon? Do you think it is going to be a big event, or, as you mentioned earlier, are we just going to slide into a more enlightened time?
I believe we're going to slide into a more enlightened time where people will experience amazing things that will not only expand their conscious but expand their view of physical universe and beyond.
Do you think we're getting closer to disclosure?
I believe in time that they're not going to be able to contain the information that they have, and I believe we're being conditioned right now at this point and have been for the last 10 years that there is just somebody else out there besides us poor, helpless human beings.